All right, Debbie, all you.
All set? All right. Thanks, Nicole. So, hi, everybody. Greetings from here in Indiana, where I'm bunkered down during quarantine. I am so excited that Nicole asked me to be here tonight and talk about creativity. Creativity is something I'm incredibly passionate about. I do have a degree in creativity and innovation, but more than that, creativity is definitely a focus of how I live my life. It's what gives it depth and meaning and vitality. I'm a professional musician, a cellist and a pianist, and I teach both of those instruments as well as doing other classroom teaching. But one of my favorite things to do is to work with young kids, composing music and helping to cultivate their creativity. I believe so strongly in the development of creativity through the arts. It's how I relate to the world, how I relate to other people, to nature, and to life. So, creativity, awesome, yes. But creativity during quarantine, I've got to be honest, for me, it's been sort of hit or miss. As a musician and teacher, I went from having gigs and a full studio of students and other classes to practically nothing. Only a handful of online lessons each week. I've tried to put aside the just worrying about everything that's happening in the world to look at this period as some found time when I can work on all those projects that I never have time for, or read the backlog of books that I just never get to. Try to reconnect with friends and family over FaceTime, and really just to take stock of my life and say what's working, what's missing, and what kind of priority adjustments can improve my trajectory. But honestly, it's at times been really hard to even find motivation to do anything, let alone to be creative. Each and every day kind of stretches out in front of us like that proverbial blank page or blank canvas that can cause writer's block or artist block. And with no deadlines, I can easily justify procrastination because I promise you there's definitely time tomorrow to do whatever I don't get to today. And then there are those days that I make the mistake of checking social media or the news first thing in the morning. And before I know it, the entire day is shot. And I'm too depressed to accomplish anything because everything going on out there is just too big. It's too important. And I'm too removed from life. I can't get in touch with my own creative voice, let alone to project my voice beyond these four walls. But then I feel guilty because it's so important to be involved and share myself and be that piece of the puzzle of life that only I can fit. And honestly, when else in life am I going to have all this time to get stuff done? Uh, Despite the overwhelming global health crisis, civil rights movement, distressing daily news of what's happening in our country, some people do seem to be thriving creatively, from writing songs and poetry or creating stunning art about their experiences, creating virtual choirs or orchestras or reading books online. It's said that Shakespeare wrote King Lear while he was quarantined. And you can tune into Chris Cuomo and see these heartwarming stories of what he calls Americans who are finding creative ways to help others during this crisis. I want to be one of those people. I want to help, but really, who needs a cellist right now? So, what do you do when what you do really doesn't seem to matter at the moment? So we just really have to look at other ways that ignite the spark of creativity. And it's absolutely not limited to whatever it says on our business card, because every one of us is far more than one identifying factor. Yes, some people are able to take advantage of this less busyness to tackle projects, but some of us are just trying to get our footing and figure out how to navigate this new normal. But no matter how you're feeling, creativity and the need to have a creative outlet is inherent in all of us. So how can we embrace our creativity during quarantine? When we're in our homes alone or with the same few people day after day, week after week, and at this point, month after month, and when we're uncertain about the future of our health or our employment, and in some cases, entire professions, it's easy to just want to curl up into a ball and not be inspired artistically at all. But that's when we have to cling to other kinds of creativity. After all, not all creativity is artistic. In fact, cultivating new kinds of creativity develops our whole self and expands possibilities across the board. One way that I've been coping with this time is through what some may call escapism, but I've been reading a ton of books, fiction and nonfiction, and exploring and being exposed to new worlds and new ideas that were previously unknown to me. Maybe that's not your thing. So check out some new music or art, or just choose a topic or two to learn something new. You are in control of your actions. And even if you feel like you can't put anything down on that blank page, then soak up new ideas and skills that will become part of your experiences. And that allows you to make interesting connections and provides more depth to draw from in the future. Personally, I've had a couple of unexpected projects come up that ended up being really fun and just what I needed at the moment. I was asked by some elementary music teachers if I could provide some content for online learning, which really had me thinking in a different way. I produced a video of a children's book being read along with incorporating musical variations that followed the story. And in addition, we made a companion video that introduced the musicians and their instruments. That project used skills such as arranging and editing far beyond how I had used them previously. But those skills certainly might come in handy in the future. And I know that the teachers, the students, and parents can really benefit from the product that we put out there. And another project that came up was when Nicole asked me to make masks for movers, which I just saw she had on one of the masks that I made, which thrills me. And that was a totally different kind of creative outlet. To date, I've made about 400 masks and I've donated them to various organizations or just sent them to individuals to say, hey, I'm thinking of you and I care. So each time I finish a batch and clean up, I think, okay, now I'm ready. But the question remains, ready for what? So another thing that I enjoy doing and do a lot of is interviewing people and talking about creativity. And it's interesting that a couple of people that I've interviewed who grew up in Eastern Europe behind the Iron Curtain, they attribute difficult times to contributing to their creativity. A harpist from Poland says she developed a sense of humor to compensate for otherwise unbearable situations. And a classical guitarist admits that looking at his home country of Bulgaria now, in his opinion, it seems like people are so much less creative because they don't have to be, because in his opinion, again, everything's just given to them and it's easy. So in those circumstances, being able to creatively cope and adapt to their circumstances help them grow through the adversity that they faced. These are examples of using creativity in ways that don't necessarily end up with a physical product. Author Olga Hazan states that creativity's usefulness doesn't have to be physical. Joy can be as useful as productivity. Now, we've certainly seen a range of examples of creativity that does both during this pandemic. Feeding frontline workers, offering classes, performances, or other inspirational events online. The act of giving to and sharing with others benefits the giver by feeling useful and the receiver by the evidence of being cared for. Now, historically, we can look to art and creative output to understand the human experience of the time. For us, living through this time of uncertainty and anxiety and turmoil, we can turn to the arts, to our chosen creative outlet, and to our community to help us work through and express our various feelings and experiences as we move to heal, move to create change. Creativity is an important part of our movement, and connections are a huge part of creativity. I mentioned humor. Humor is a great example of creativity. It often makes connections in ways that are atypical or clever and hopefully amusing. But when you connect two unexpected and seemingly unrelated things, that's creativity. A diversity of experiences and knowledge can help you see things from different angles. This is vital in problem solving, but also it's so important in connecting with others. You see, it's important not only to connect with your own self, with your individuality and value as a unique creative being, but then to radiate that out and connect with others. Right now, we are physically isolated, and it is imperative that we connect in other ways. As humans, we instinctively crave connection. So reconnect with someone you lost touch with during the busyness of normal life. Reach out to someone who might be struggling with the same feelings of disconnect or depression that you're experiencing during this time. Each of you has a built-in support system in the M.O.V.E community. We connect with each other, we connect with our art, and we connect with our communities beyond. Dr. Vivek Murthy states that being connected to others gives us a stake in more than just our own interests. It expands those interests to include our whole community and thus increases our motivation to work together. As a cellist who would much prefer chamber music to solo playing any day of the week, I can confidently say that I thrive creatively when I'm collaborating, when I am in community. And that can apply to almost any type of creativity, from creative problem solving to forms of improvisation with music, dance, theater, cooking, playing games. It helps to interact to get the creative juices flowing. And again, diverse perspectives expand possibilities. And sharing an experience also creates a shared investment. As we connect, we listen and learn from each other, enhancing each other's lives as we strengthen our bonds. In a TED Talk entitled "A Love Story About the Power of Art is Organizing," Aja Monet argues that great art is not a monologue. Great art is a dialogue between the artist and the people. And she's absolutely right. Through our art and through connections, we can move to build social networks. As we embrace our individual and collective creativity, we increase the quality of life for ourselves and for our communities. And let's face it, without connections, people are less likely to participate and be engaged. I think back to post-election 2016, when M.O.V.E, We Heal worked to bring people with different political views together, to listen to each other, understand differences, and search for common ground. It wasn't that easy to get dissenting sides in the same room, let alone have tough discussions. I don't know that anything about it is easier today, but we have to try. We desperately need some unity in community. And I believe that can be achieved through creative interactions. According to Jennifer Eberhardt in her book, Biased, research shows that close attachments between people from different groups can puncture holes in stereotypic beliefs and negative attitudes. And the openness of that relationship can leave a mark that lasts well beyond the moment and extends past that particular person. And of course, Brene Brown puts it simply, just saying, people are hard to hate up close. So let's get creative in quarantine, not in a one size fits all, crank out specific works of art type of way, though if you are so inspired, go for it, because I would look forward to seeing the results. But let's be intentional in taking the time to process what's happening. Get in touch with your own creativity, expand your palette of possibilities through educating yourself and grabbing whatever experiences you can generate, and cultivate your unique dot to dot tapestry with the connections that only you can contribute. What sparks your imagination and creativity might come from a totally unexpected source, so be open to new experiences and ideas. It's so vitally important right now to engage in a movement that encourages a positive and open dialogue, a collaboration of thoughts and ideas, art and creativity as a path towards healing. Creativity can ignite our imaginations and be a catalyst for new connections, putting community at the center of our creativity as we move forward. Thank you.
Amazing, Debbie.
Woo!